everybody. This is Rob speaking to you on behalf of robertborsick.com with another episode of Rob and Maxie's Marketing Minutes. We have a special guest on the show today. He is owner of 30minutemarketing.net, and he has a brand new product launching March 2nd. I want to offer a warm welcome to Garry Lynn Baker. Garry, thanks so much for being on the show. Garry, for those out there who are not familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
All right. Well, my name's Garry Baker, or Garry Lynn Baker. My first name now that I'm an adult, I guess I would say. Because my dad's first name is Gary. But anyway, my family calls me Lynn, so that's why when you see me on Facebook, you're going to see Garry Lynn Baker. Because that is my personal profile on Facebook. So that's me, right? So a bit of my backstory as far as as venturing into marketing. I mean, this is 30minutemarketing.net for me, right? The whole concept there is what I like to call myself as a 30-minute marketer. That means I do this part-time, right? So whenever I can find 30 minutes in a day, this is what I want to do. I want to, because I'm changing careers, I'm shifting careers in my life. Because I spent 25 plus years in information technology. I'm a network engineer by trade. So that's what I do currently. And the reason that I moved into marketing and online marketing, internet marketing, however you want to phrase it, just marketing in general, is the concept, of course, of, passive or recurring income, that type of thing. And with my technical background, the technical pieces don't really scare me. So, that wasn't a big hurdle for me. So for me, it's more learning the marketing side of the house. And but the big deal is I'm from Arkansas, and I was living in Arkansas, and I was working for Verizon Wireless, which most people in the U.S. and probably everyone in the world knows Verizon Wireless or Verizon, right?
Right.
So around 2015, I got laid off, right? Actually, December 2015, I got laid off.
Okay.
So I was like, and this is the second time in my career I'd been laid off, which, it's not hard for me to find a job with my skill set, but it's not a fun thing to do. You know what I mean? Especially, the older you get, you realize that it's a bigger deal, right? You want something that is yours, that you control, that you own, as much as you can anyway.
Yeah.
So that's me, and that's 30minutemarketing.net. The concept, part-time, do what you can when you can, and the 30 minutes actually came from a famous marketer called Eugene Schwartz. And he has this concept where he would set an egg timer to 33 minutes and 33 seconds. And I actually cover this on my blog at 30minutemarketing.net, where he would just set this timer and his focus would be whatever it was. Of course, he was a copywriter, so writing copy for that 30 minutes, 33 minutes and 33 seconds, that's all he would do. He wouldn't get up out of his desk, wouldn't focus, wouldn't do anything else. And it just really resonated with me, that message. So that's where 30-minute marketing was born.
All right, there is one thing I am going to kind of call you out on. Do you have a cooking site?
I do actually have it's a cast iron cooking site. Yes, I do.
Okay. Is that something that you're just interested? Is that just a hobby, or is that just a fun site?
It is. It's a niche that I don't know as much about as I should, being from the southern part of the U.S. And my grandma would be really upset about that, but she'll get over it.
I thought I seen that, and I thought I'd have a little fun with you about it.
Yeah, I do. And another one of my sites is actually called fixin2.com, which where I'm from, fixin' to means I'm going to do something.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's another little fun and poke at, like where I'm from. So it's all good.
All right. So now that we have a little backstory, tell us what you're currently working on.
Currently, obviously I'm working on my launch, right? So I'm going through this process. I have created products in the past, and I do have products that I created and made, and I really just use them as bonuses, or, just for training to, help myself and to help other people, learn internet marketing. And okay. So this is the first time I've actually done what they would call a hard launch, where you actually set a launch date, you do a JV recruitment, you have a contest, the whole thing. So it's official, right? Everybody, you're announcing yourself to the world. You're saying, I have arrived. At least I hope so. Right. And this is my product. I want people to support it. I want people to buy it, and you're trying to make a big deal with the whole launch thing. So that's currently what I'm doing. And then, I mean, what's next for me is just sort of, keep moving towards my goal of, doing this full time, which, learning more and more about, generating traffic, conversions, copywriting, all that good stuff.
So what do you think actually was the triggering factor to take this to a full launch for you?
So like I said, I created 2 products under the 30minutemarketing.net brand, and I actually posted them on Warrior Plus.
Okay.
And like I said, I really just use them as bonuses. The actual one of the products is how to create a product as a bonus product to use in affiliate marketing, right?
Okay.
So then the thing I did is I actually reached out. I actually found a coach, and I got some one-on-one assistance because, I mean, in my mind, I spent 25 years in information technology, and I always sort of had a mentor or somebody that I worked with, until I reached that level, and then I brought people under me, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where I came from, and I'm like, this is what I need to take me to the level I want to be. So
Okay.
this sort of just came. He's like, okay, you have this brand, so this is what you need to do, right? This is the best path to introducing yourself to the internet marketing world, right? And then bringing people under you, showing people that you do know what you're talking about, right? And getting your name out there, your brand out there. So that's really what the launch is all about.
Awesome. So I don't know if you said, Gary, do you want to tell us the name of your product you're launching this time?
The name of the product is Quick Q&A Commissions.
And give us, without going into like a whole depth of the product, can you give us just kind of like the sales page overview?
Yeah. So the general idea is content marketing, right? So inside of content marketing is basically where you generate content, blog post, email, Facebook post, social media, right? So pretty much everyone that has a Facebook account has taken, some type of quiz, right? So quick Q&A, really, just like it says, when you get into the sales page, it's going to start talking about what the product really is. And it's really about using quizzes as content, and not just quizzes, but different ways to use quizzes to make them so they're not just like, cutesy, like, hey, what Disney princess or Star Wars
princess are you?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like really using it for, because the thing is, a quiz is great, but in some niches, right, it's more important that you do give an assessment, right? Or, you're taking a survey, you're finding out more detail about yourself or about the product, however you're positioning, because it's about affiliate marketing. So it's how whatever your product is and how you're positioning your product and providing value to your audience, right? You want to give them something. You don't just want to ask them a bunch of irrelevant questions and then they're like, oh, great, right? You know what I mean? I just wasted 5 minutes of my life for no reason, right?
Yes.
So the goal is to get them to interact with your content, share your content, right? The viral effect. That's really what Quick Q&A Commissions is all about. And of course, while you're doing that with the content, the end game, of course, inside affiliate marketing is to get the sale, right? So
right,
you're providing value and giving them something they need, and then you're steering them in the right direction, which is, the product that's actually going to solve their problem.
Oh my gosh, this sounds so interesting. So what led to this? I mean, did you like do a bunch of these quizzes and you said like, oh my gosh, there's like a great spot to fill here?
So the thing is I was actually, most people have heard of the marketplace, ClickBank, right? That's
right.
where like a lot of information products are sold. So
right.
I was in this training course, and one of the things that they were doing in the training course was quizzes, and everybody just sort of pushed it to the side, right? They were like, I want to do a blog, I'm a writer, whatever, all this kind of stuff. And for me, I was like, well, I'm not a writer, right? I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like these people are talking about, that's actually where I got involved with like copywriting and understanding. And I got introduced to Gene Schwartz and people like him, right? People like from the old direct marketing stuff. Because these people were like serious about like being writers, and they were building their own information products.
Right.
Surrounded by all these different niches, you know what I mean? Health and, all kind of wealth and personal development, it's a big niche and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they mentioned this quiz thing, and I was like, well, that sounds easy. Right? Needless to say, just because it's quick Q&A commissions,
It ain't
it ain't easy. It can be quick, but it ain't easy, right? So, but yeah, it was a way for me to basically, you know, use what the vendor was giving people, you know, swipes and this kind of thing, and blog posts and all that, and not really have to generate these long, you know, blog posts and try to, you know, post them on your web, you know, post them on your blog and try to get people to read them and all that. This is a way where you can, you know, take that same content, pull it, sort of turn it into questions and answers, and make it more dynamic, right? And you can test it. And one of the things that I cover is using it on social media, which obviously Facebook is, you know,
right.
social media, right? I mean, there's plenty of other ones, but you know, when you're talking about social media, most time I'm talking about Facebook. And then of course, free traffic, right? You need to generate a lot of it quickly, and you need to stay in front, you know, you need to try to get more and more and more out there and get more and more interaction. Well, if you try to do that with a blog post, right, that's that's a lot of work.
That's
you know
a
what I mean?
lot of work.
So if you can generate 5, say, you know, 5, 7, 10 questions, right, and then change up the answers and sort of like pick your own adventure. I don't know if you remember those type of books.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, so that's sort of where I got it from, because I used to like those when I was a kid, and I was like, well, I can just change these, and then you can build them, test them. If they don't work, then you can adjust, right? But you do that with a blog, it's kind of hard, because then you got to post, and you're like, what are you going to do? Make a whole correction, or, you know, version 2 of that, or to be continued? I don't know, whatever. That's the general idea of quick Q&A commission, right? That's the quick part, I guess.
That's the quick part. All right. Wow. Because I like the way it sounds like not only that you're going to teach these experienced marketers a little something, but it sounds like it's actually newbie friendly too. So I like that angle that you took. I think it's awesome. Yeah. So let me ask you this now. So now there are a lot of new people out there trying to get started. If you were in their shoes and had to do it over, and you're starting from scratch today, tell us how you'd go about getting yourself up and going.
I think I would go back to what I was saying earlier about coaching and finding a mentor. I mean, for me, that really is something that I probably should have done earlier, because I'll give you a little insight to the first time I actually had my one-on-one coaching call with my mentor. He said to me, he goes, Gary, you got a little problem. I said, what's that? He goes, you got this this thing. It's called the smartest person in the room syndrome. I was like, whoa, what? He goes, don't take that wrong. He goes, because you're a smart guy, right? And he goes, and you're you know, you're an action taker, right? You take action. You don't sit around and wait for somebody to be like, hey, Gary, you need to do this. Well, you know, you really need to do this, right? It's like, because you know, if I see something, I'm like, oh, I can do that, so I do it, right? I mean, why not try it? If you don't, if you're not trying, if you're not, you know, trying to figure out how to do it, if you're not putting yourself out there, then you're gonna, you know, you're never gonna fail because you never tried. So that's sort of would be my advice. Is definitely don't do it on your own. I'm not saying that, because I mean, if you can do it on your own, that's great. But you know, it's always nice to have somebody, you know what I mean, that you know is successful at it. And that's part of it too. I mean, you have to find the right mentor, you have to find the right coach, because just like anything, I mean, it's the internet, right? People could be telling you all kinds of crazy stuff. So.
Yep, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, and I absolutely believe in that. Yes, I think everybody should get themselves a coach, you know, especially when they're starting out. At least you can leverage their experience, okay, for their pitfalls that they've had, and the suggestions they can give you, and it's a wonderful experience. So yes, I definitely agree with you on that. So tell me now, okay, so quick Q&A commissions is going to launch here, and now I bet you've learned quite a bit about product launching since you've done it. Give us a couple of golden nuggets or eureka moments that you learned along the way.
Okay, I'll give you. I'll give 2 that are pretty simple. The first one is creating the product and keeping it, you know, short, sweet, and to the point, if you will, right? Okay. And I mean focused, right? Not short and sweet where there's not any, you know, detailed content in there. Because
Okay.
the first time it's because, the front end is a PDF, it's a report, and it's a bunch of checklists, and there's other stuff in there. It's all on the sales page.
Okay.
But when I first created the report, right, I started doing the report, and my coach was like, yeah, write this up. And I wrote it up, and I'm like, because I come from a technical background, right? I'm in information technology, and we love screenshots and very detailed step by step by step by step. So I had like, I don't know, like 120 pages or something, and it was like all this, like, step one, do this, do this. He's like, yeah, this is really, truly boring. And he's like, nobody,
Oh no.
you know, and he's like, you kind of want to tell a story. You want to have your, he goes, when you talk about quick Q&A commissions and you talk about how you use quizzes, he goes, I can feel that passion. He goes, you got to get that on the paper, right? Even though it's a training product, you're getting it to people that are new, and you want them to feel it. You want them to just, be able to get in there quick, understand who you are, where you're coming from, how they can get started, right? And so they can feel as they're moving along that, this isn't going to be impossible. This is something that they can do, just like my brand, 30minutemarketing.net. This is something that they can accomplish in 30 minutes, right? Of course, technical pieces, if they don't know, web pages and hosting, obviously that's going to take more 30-minute intervals, right, to get to that point. But that's sort of the concept. And, the thing is, the report still comes in, I think, at like 80 pages, but I put a lot of screenshots in there because I think that was important. You know what I mean? Because it's a visual, because quizzes, it's visual, right? It's a visual, it's a visual product at the end of the day, right? Because you're going to have a bunch of questions and answers, and people are going to be clicking through them, and you can add images, you can add videos, you're going to have reports at the end if you choose to, and this kind of thing. So, and then I covered, some free options and some paid options, because I kind of wanted to show everybody that, hey, this is something you can do on a budget. This is something you can go all out on, depending on sort of where you are and what you're really trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
Okay.
Right. And as you can tell, I guess that's still long-winded on a few things. But
No,
anyway.
you know what? I love this. Our audience is going to love this.
Yeah. So the second thing that I'll just say real quick is not about the product. Creating the product and the technical stuff, and telling my story and giving people the information they need, or that I feel they need to be successful with quick Q&A commissions and what's in there. That's great. So then it came time for JV recruitment, right? And for me, this is not really my strong suit, is asking people for help or going around and sort of tiptoeing and being like, hey, I like your stuff. I've been following you. How's it going? I saw your launch, yada, yada, yada. I get it, right? You got to be sociable. That's, it's business. There's a certain etiquette or whatever. But some people are just, they've been doing this for a long time. They've been in the quote game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's certain etiquette, apparently, right? So, and I kind of just throw that out the window, because I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm here. I'm going to be here. So, if you want to help me, then I'll, you know what I mean? That's great. I'll see what I can do for you. If my product's good, then support it. If it's not good, then tell me, you know what I mean? And we can work from there. Either we can work together or we can't. So it's kind of something I'm learning that, because I never really used, I'm going to be honest, I never used Facebook for anything other than keeping up with my friends and family.
Okay.
So, sort of building this whole, friendship, Facebook friends of, marketers, and sort of building an audience of people that want to learn to be marketers. You know what I mean? Sort of all this people around you. Because I'm like, and you can find this on my timeline. It's really kind of funny. I decided I was just going to wave at people. Because I'm like, hey, that's a cool little thing, right? You push this little button and it waves at people.
Oh, this is a good story. I love this.
Yeah. So for me, right, when people wave at me on the messenger, I'm not jaded, right? I'm like, oh, cool, somebody's waving at me. Who's this? Right? But then I got to thinking, after people made some comments and this and that, I'm like, well, that's just the wrong way to think about using social media, right? And I'm like, so I got to think, well, I only really have 600 friends now.
All right, hold on, Gary. I'm gonna stop you right there. Let's talk about this wave. Go in a little more depth about this experiment you did, because I absolutely love this.
So this was my JV recruitment idea, was to wave at people. So apparently it rubbed some of the bigger marketers the wrong way, but it really wasn't me waving at them. It was this whole idea of like a hard pitch before you know somebody, if you're not friends with them. So the truth really came out, right? Now, the wave emoji, the little hand, has a bad rap. I'm going to just say that straight out, right? And I was not aware of that. So I wasn't plugged into, like I said, I wasn't plugged into the scene when it comes to which emojis you can use, which emojis you can't use, at first contact. So some people took offense to the wave, some people didn't. So there were a few comments and posts around. I created a hashtag to wave or not to wave, and I made a little meme out of it, a little GIF or whatever. Right? So it's all good. And I think at the end of the day, it probably helped me, right? Because like I said, it sort of announced that, hey, I'm here, and this is who I am. So I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah,
no, it was. I thought it was a wonderful write up you had done on it, and and I was and instantly, I guess I never put much thought into it either. But you asked, what does that wave mean to you? And I'm like, I know what the wave means.
Right? You're like, no.
One first is the wave, and next is the hey, you want to be in my MLM? And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, so that's definitely the second takeaway, which is probably the most important.
All right, Gary, before we go to the closing piece, I don't know if you mentioned, this is kind of interesting. We're having this conversation right now. Where are you at?
Yeah. Well, I'm not in Arkansas, so no, I'm actually, like I said earlier, I got laid off from Verizon. I spent a big chunk of my adult life working for the Department of Defense, or for the United States, right? So right. I was in the United States Air Force straight out of high school.
Okay.
So I've always been in and out of the Department of Defense, helping them out or whatever. So I'm actually in Kuwait right now, working with the United States Army. So I'm doing cybersecurity for the United States Army right now as a network engineer.
Wow,
so that's currently what I'm doing. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things for, internet marketing for some people, you know what I mean? It's like, for me, I mean, I got a big hurdle, right? I want to do this for a living, but it's going to take me a while to replace my income. You know what I mean? I can't just, and I don't say that to, take away from anybody else that does internet marketing, trying to bring themselves up, whatever. Right. But that's not really my story. My story is not a rags to riches type of thing. Right. I have a very successful career. It's just that, I found this and it's very intriguing and I have fun with it every day because I'm constantly learning, you know what I mean? So I just want to be immersed in it all day long. Yeah.
Wow. No, yeah. Oh, I love that. All right. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule today to talk with me. I sincerely appreciate it. Know my audience is going to get a lot out of this interview. But before we wrap up, can you tell my audience where they can reach out to you if they'd like to learn more about what you're doing for your upcoming projects you have going on?
So the best place to reach me is at 30minutemarketing.net. Okay. If you go to the web, you just go to that web page. There's a little red envelope in the right bottom corner. There's the contact. And then, of course, my email is in there as well as like my about page has my email in there, which is Garry, and that's Garry with 2 R's, Garry, at 30 minute, and 30 is 30, minutemarketing.net.
Okay, and I will make sure that your link is underneath this interview after. So do you have any final words for the people watching and listening Rob and Maxie's Marketing Minutes?
Hey, just, if this is what you want to do, like I said, find somebody that can help you, take their advice for what it's worth, find out who they are, what they're doing, and then just go with it. You got to test, right? Everything's about testing. So, and I will say this, there is no one right way to do it. There's no wrong way. There's no right way. There's just a way, and you have to find your way to do it, to get your message out there. Because at the end of the day, it's, everybody's heard it, right? You got to get people to know you. You got to get people to like you. You got to get people to trust you, right?
Awesome.
So that's all I'd say, man.
All right. So in closing, Garry is the creator and owner of Quick Q&A Commissions and 30minutemarketing.net. He is an extremely interesting and talented individual and has provided massive value for us today. Garry, thank you so much for being on the show. That's all we have time for today, folks. This is Rob and Maxie Dog, and you've been watching Rob and Maxie's Marketing Minutes, and we will see you in the next one.